So welcome back. Today we are going to learn about the bond stresses, development length and anchorage as per IS 456-2000. Right, so let's begin with that. What is bond stress? First, what is bond stress? So the bond between steel and concrete is very important and essential so that they can act together without any slip in a loaded structure. So this is a very important phenomena which has to happen between concrete and steel, that there has to be a bond, there should not be any slip. The bond is measured by bond stress. The local bond stress varies along a member with the variation of bending moment. Right? So bond strength varies along the member length if there is a variation in the bending moment values. The average value throughout its anchorage length is designated as the average bond stress. Deformed bars are known to be superior to the smooth mild steel bars due to the presence of ribs. Right? So when we do the testing of this bond stress, we get higher values for bond between concrete and the deformed bars than the plain bars. So this is the kind of crack patterns observed to be horizontal and occurs directly over reinforcing bars, right? So this is a kind of crack patterns which we can observe during the testing. So this is a ribbed bar, right? These are the ribs. So this is how it gets inside the concrete and components of concrete. So there will be a bond like this, right? Next is, what is development length? LD. It is denoted by LD, development length denoted by LD. So the length of a member required to develop the full bond is called the anchorage length. The length of a member required to develop the full bond is called anchorage length. The reinforcement has to be anchored properly in concrete by providing sufficient embedded length, which is known as development length. So the reinforcement has to be embedded properly in the concrete, providing sufficient embedment length, which is known as development length, right? Then for that we need to calculate design bond stress tau BD, right? Design bond stress tau BD. So the design bond stress tau BD is defined as the shear force per unit nominal surface area of reinforcing bar. Tau BD is the shear force per unit nominal surface area of the reinforcing bar. The stress is acting on an interface between bars and surrounding concrete and along the direction parallel to the bars. So this stress is acting on the interface between the bars and the concrete, and it is along the direction of parallel to the bars. So this is how it looks like. Suppose this is a bar and this force is applied outside. So this is length LD, development length. So this is how the stress is acting along the length of the bar. Suppose bar diameter is 5. So this is a graphical or figure representation of how this design bond stress is acting. So for this values are given in clause number 26.2.1.1 of IS 456-2000. Tau BD for plain bars in tension. So it depends on the grade of concrete. Which is the grade of concrete? Based on that, there is a value of tau BD, that is design bond stress, given in the IS 456-2000 in the clause number 26.2.1.1. This is for plain bars. Now for deformed bars, conforming to IS 1786, these values given in this table are increased by 60%. So whatever values are given here, those values needed to be increased by 60% for deformed bars, which is generally the case. For bars in compression, the values of bond stress in tension shall be increased by 25%. So all these values are for tension action, and if you are doing for the compression action, then further we need to increase these values which we are getting from the tension action. We need to increase that by 25% more. So these are very important things to be keep in mind while doing the structural design. This can result in a lot of savings of steel. Okay, now expression for development length LD, it is given in clause number 26.2.1. So we have already seen this formula, right, in the previous slides. So let us do the derivation of expression. So tensile force trying to pull out the bar, T is equal to tensile force is given by pi into phi square, pi by 4 d square, right, that is pi by 4 d square multiplied by sigma s. Pi by 4 d square multiplied by sigma s. This is the tensile force trying to pull out the bar. Now the resistance force is the friction between bar and concrete. So resistance force is pi into phi into LD into tau BD. So circumference of the bar multiplied by length multiplied by stress. The equation is circumference of the bar multiplied by length multiplied by tau BD. So the resistance is pi into phi, this is the circumference of bar, into LD into tau BD is equal to tensile force. So pi by 4 d square into sigma s. So from this, if we make a formula for LD, so LD will become phi into sigma s divided by 4 tau BD. Phi into sigma s divided by 4 tau BD, where phi is the nominal diameter of the bar, sigma s is the tensile stress in the bar at the section considered at design loads, and tau BD is design bond stress as per clause number 26.2.1.1, right. So this development length ultimately it depends on the diameter of bar, then design bond stress tau BD and the tensile stress in the bar at section considered at design loads. So this is the equation LD for development length, which we will be using for calculation of the development length of a particular diameter bar. Next is regarding the end anchors. So end anchorages can be in the form of a hook or a 90-degree bend. So end anchorages are either of hook form or it may be of the 90-degree bend. So let us see, this is a standard hook, this is a standard hook, this hook look like this, right, and 90-degree bend, standard 90-degree bend is provided like this. So you must have seen this on sites also. At few points you provide the steel like this, that is called hook arrangement, and at some points you provide steel like this is called 90-degree bend. Now there is a value here k plus 1 into phi, right. So there is a k value, k is I think radius, right. So minimum k for mild steel is 2 and for cold work steel is 4. So k value minimum for mild steel is 2 and for cold work is 4. So the anchorage value of standard bend shall be considered as 4 times the diameter of the bar for each 45-degree bend subjected to maximum value of 16 times the diameter of bar. So let us understand this. What is the anchorage value? So anchorage value of a standard bend shall be considered as 4 times the diameter of bar. If it is a standard bend, then we consider it as 4 times the diameter of bar for each 45-degree bend subjected to maximum value of 16 times diameter of the bar. So it can go maximum up to 16 times diameter of bar for each 45-degree bend. So let us say anchorage value for 90-degree bend is 8 times diameter of bar. So let us understand this. So for, as it is written in the first paragraph, for 45-degree bend the value is 4 times diameter of bar, so 4 into 5. So with increment of each 45 degree, so for 90 degree it will be again 8 into 5, right. So likewise it increases. Similarly, anchorage value of hook, so hook is provided at 135 degree, right, and hook is provided at 135. Let us see where it is provided. Yes, so it is at some different angle, right. So anchorage value for hook we take as 16 into 5. So deformed bars may not need end anchorages if the development length requirement is satisfied. So this is very important clause to be remembered, that deformed bars may not require end anchorages if the development length requirement is satisfied. So now as per clause number 26.2.1, anchoring reinforcing bars in tension. So anchoring bars in tension, deformed bars may be used without end anchorages provided development length requirement is satisfied. Hooks should normally be provided for plain bars in tension. Then next is regarding the band and hooks. So bands and hooks shall conform to IS 2502. For bands, the anchorage value of band shall be taken as 4 times the diameter of the bar for each 45-degree band subjected to maximum of 16 times diameter of the bar, which we have seen. For hooks, the anchorage value of standard U-type hook shall be equal to 16 times the diameter of bar, right? The anchorage value of the standard U-type hook shall be equal to 16 times the diameter of the bar. So LD dash is equal to LD minus anchorage value, either 8.5 or 16.5. Next is anchoring of bars in compression. This is given in clause number 26.2.2.2. The anchorage length of straight bars in compression shall be equal to the development length of bars in compression as specified in 26.2.1. The projected length of hooks, bands and straight lengths beyond bands, if provided for a bar in compression, shall only be considered for development length, right? So it is similar to the development length that we are providing. So it is for that as per clause number 26.2.1 for anchorage bars in compression. So for this, LD dash will become LD minus K plus 1 into phi, where K is equal to 2 for MS bars and it is 4 for deformed bars. So this will give you the anchoring length for bars in compression. Next, anchoring shear reinforcement is given in clause number 26.2.2.4. So anchoring shear reinforcement for inclined bars, the development length shall be S for bars in tension. This length shall be measured as in tension zone from the end of sloping or inclined portion of the bar and in compression zone from the mid depth of the beam, right? Then for stirrups, notwithstanding any of the provisions of this standard, in case of secondary reinforcement such as stirrups and transverse ties, complete development lengths and anchorage shall be deemed to have been provided when the bar is bent through an angle of at least 90 degree round a bar of at least its own diameter and is continued beyond the end of the curve for a length of at least 8 diameters, or when the bar is bent through an angle of 135 degree and is continued beyond the end of the curve for the length of at least 6 bar diameters, or when the bar is bent through an angle of 180 degree and is continued beyond the end of the curve for the length at least 4 times diameter of bar. So let us understand this separately for stirrups, right? So first is 90 degree band. If it is a 90 degree band, let us shall be deemed to have when the bar is bent through an angle at least 90 degree round a bar of at least its own diameter and the continued beyond the end of the curve for length at least 8 times diameter. So if it is 90 degree, it should continue up to 8 times diameter of bar, right? If it is 90 degree band. Then if it is 135 degree band, beyond the curve at least 6 times diameter of bar. If it is 135 degree, then it should be at least 6 times diameter of bar, and if it is 180 degree band, then it should be at least 4 times diameter of the bar. So this is what should be taken care of, right? So for 135 degree, this is should be 6 times diameter of bar. For 90, 8 times diameter of bar. For 135, 6 times diameter of bar, and 180 degree band, it is 4 times diameter of the bar. This should be the anchoring length for the stirrups or say shear reinforcements. So in summary, what we can say, the main requirement for safety against bond failure is to provide a sufficient extension of the length of the bar beyond the point where the steel is required to develop its yield stress. When the steel is required to develop its yield stress, this length must be at least equal to its development length. And however, if the actual available length is inadequate for full development, the end anchorages must be provided, such as hooks or bends. Right, so let us see this criteria as in IS code. This is given in clause number 26.2, development length of stress in reinforcement. Right, so we have seen this formula, development length of bars LD is equal to phi into sigma s divided by 4 tau BD. Then we have seen this table number 26.2.1.1, design bond stress in limit state method for plain bars in tensions, LB as below, right? And for deformed bars, this should be increased by 60%, and for compression bars, this should be increased by 25%. Then we have seen this anchoring reinforcement bars, right? Anchoring bars in tension, deformed bars may be used. So we have seen this all, right? So this is given on page number 43. So if you refer page number 43, you can find this all the explanation that we did in the slides, right? So thank you so much for joining me in this session. We will see you in the next session.